Well, hey, how y'all doing? How you doing today? Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a topic of discussion that sometimes people don't want to say out loud because let's just keep it real. It's painful to really tell your truth at times because you don't know how people are going to take it. You don't know how they're going to receive it. So, most of the time, we try to stay away from really talking about our true feelings. And this is going to be real exclusive. A lot of times I put all of my information on all the different platforms, but today I felt like I needed to just have a conversation to feel like I'm just sitting there with you, maybe in your living room or if you're in your kitchen, making you something to eat or riding in your car. I think that this message is going to really touch you and make you think about some things. As a woman in her middle age years, I recognize how important it is to have community and to be able to tell your truth, to tell your truth about where you are in the season of your life, whether good or bad. I want somebody to be there to celebrate with me, as well as to empathize with me when I'm going through any type of calamities in my life. And when I got up this morning, I started thinking about talking about things that people generally don't say. And especially when it talks about, going through feelings of isolation when you are starting over in your life or rebuilding something new because it's a lonely place. It is a place where you might feel isolated and that you're all alone, but you're not alone. But a lot of times in our mind, we kind of ruminate over things that are negative and we end up not showing up. And I'm gonna give you an analogy as it relates to isolating. And sometimes it doesn't happen like overnight. No one just decides, hey, I'm just gonna isolate myself. It happens when you really don't even expect it to. And I thought about my grass outside. Around my house, I have a nice amount of land. And I didn't notice it at first that the grass was getting so high and not noticing it because I've been out of town a lot, I've been traveling a lot, and just doing a lot of things. And at first, it looks like, hey, nothing's happening, but the grass, before you know it, it's like really growing high. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's kind of like how it looks like when we're going through things in life. When we are going through the process of starting over, you don't realize the pitfalls that you may get into. I'm talking about that funk. Y'all know about that place of feeling the woe is me, feeling like you can't see your way through, and you just get into a place of depression. It actually creeps up on you. It's nothing that you have just said, oh, I'm going to decide today that I'm just going to be in a depressed state. That's not how it works. It hits everybody differently at a different time. But the thing that I recognize is that we definitely have to get out of that place. And so I want you to know that, again, it doesn't happen, just overnight. It gradually comes into play. And I recognize that for myself. And I said, let me talk to a lot of women out there that are in their midlife and trying to start life over because we learn from one another. And I wrote a few things down so that I could stay on point and stay on target. Rebuilding after everything has shifted, it's not easy. It's in a new place. And here's some of the things I'm going to discuss today. You know, um, your circle gets smaller when you start to have to go through this change, right? So when your circle gets smaller, it's hard to trust people because we have been wronged in the past or things have happened over our lives. And we get into a place and a space where we start to pull back. And I know I did. I didn't realize that I was shrinking back. I would stop doing the things that I loved. I lost interest in maybe traveling at that time. When I started trying to rebuild my life, I had to be honest with myself that I didn't realize that I would say, tapping out. It's like someone that is in a game and they go sit on the bench and they're there for a while, and maybe the coach will pull them back in so that they can play the game again. But I felt like I didn't want to play anymore because I was mad. I was like a child that was pouting, like, no, I'm mad about everything that's happened and I don't want any parts of it. I don't want any parts of it, but recognizing that it was a good opportunity for starting over and to being the best person that I could possibly be. And let me say this to you. In the conversation today, we're going to talk about the fact that, why isolation hits us so deeply in midlife. And I believe it's because some of us feel like, man, is my life over? Over in the way of you have more years behind you than you do in front of you. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody doesn't know when they're going to leave this earth. That's not what I'm saying. That's not where I'm going. But I'm talking about just how we now have seen our children grow up, and you're looking at them going through a lot of things that you probably have already experienced in your life. An example, raising children and going through the process of learning how to be a parent and seeing them make mistakes along the journey. Or what about them now going out there to the 9 to 5 or the 7 to 3 or the 8 to 4, and they're trying to do or emulate what you've already done? Build wealth. Make sure you have a savings. If you get sick, you want to make sure you have insurance. All of the things that we were taught, we're trying to we would emulate those things. Now our kids, they're living their own lives, and they are recognizing, or we are recognizing, that now in certain areas of their life, we're no longer needed. And we pull back from just being apart because we're not that person that has to instruct anymore. We are not that person that they're learning for the first time some things through your eyes, because you're the one that is facilitating everything. You taking them to the sports and you're doing all of the things. Or what about when you were married? And for those of you that are divorced or widowed, the times when you had to show up, you had to cook the meals, and all of the processing of being in that position is no longer there. You start to sit back and wonder, where do I fit in now? It's like a puzzle. You're trying to find out, where do I fit in? What part do I play? How can I piece things together? Maybe you don't even like the things that you used to like, right? The things that you used to like, you no longer like those things. You no longer desire to be with the crowd. See, when I was working, I remember it was like every 2 weeks when we got paid, it was a specific group of women. We get together and we would go out and we would have dinner, especially at a fancy restaurant, because, hey, we have a couple of dollars in our pocket. So now we want to really live it up. And then everything changed after retirement, maybe having to relocate and sitting around and recognizing that, what do I do now? Where do I go now? How do I navigate this journey? And isolation, it's the thing that keeps you stuck. It's the thing that make you question if you have the capability of even rebuilding something new. Or maybe you have been exhausted from trying to make everything happen, being that go-getter. If you're anything like me, a woman who has to or had to always live uh, having to understand that if it's going to get done, I have to do it. If it's going to be built, I have to build it. If I'm going to make the plans, it's going to be me. That has always been my position. And I recognize that everybody's not like me, but I'm quite sure you can understand the fact of the matter is isolation. It comes from a place where you have been hurt, broken. Now that even divorce will make you feel like you can't trust folk anymore, or now, as I said earlier, that your friendships, they begin to get smaller and smaller because now you're not in that place or that space anymore, and it is painful. I know for me, I wanted to pull the covers over my eyes, and I've done that. I have laid in the bed and cried some serious tears and asking God, what do I do now? Because you know in your heart, I know it to be true. You know when something has come to an end and now you have to refigure everything that you thought you were going to do in this season. I know that it's not always an easy thing to say, Uncle, I give up, because there's no other way around it. When a door has been shut, you don't have an opportunity to go back through it. You just got to keep walking forward. And isolation, will have you thinking that I will never find new friends or anyone that I could trust, truly trust, to be honest with and to have fun with. Some people are more serious than I am. I would always say, I call myself the empress of encouragement because I enjoy laughter, but it hasn't always been that way. It hasn't always been a position where I just, I got up by my bootstraps and just went on. No, I have been in a place of isolation. Isolation puts you in a posture where you start to lie about how you really feel. You start to lie to yourself about moving forward because you don't even have a blueprint. So you kind of like go through the motions of life and you are not making any progress, but others think that you are making progress and you truly aren't making any progress because everything is laying dormant. And I want you to know that this is the time of thinking about making a change. If you are that woman out there that is just going through the process or have just lost your loved one and now you are lost for words, lost for everything, you just don't know what to do, it's time to continue to heal from that. And I know you're probably going to say healing. What do you mean healing? Don't get me wrong. It is not a one stop shop. It takes time to process it. It took me over 10 years. 10 years it took me to actually come to the place where I could talk to others about what I experienced. Because that experience is not easy as far as going through the process. No, it's not easy at all. Let me tell you, you know, when you are in an isolated place or you feel like the whole world is closing in on you, you start to think that, why does it look like everyone else has their life together? Why is it that some people look like they can just go through a bad situation and just keep on pressing forward? When you're isolated, when you look at your social media platforms, it will make you sadder than you even thought because you're feeling like, well, what am I doing wrong? It's just a process that you go through when you're trying to rebuild and find yourself and find I would say, and try to find your rhythm. I had to find my rhythm again. And I recognized my rhythm was talking to women and saying, listen, girl, let's talk life. I truly understand. I know what you're going through. I know how you feel. I understand you because you and I, we got this in common. Because life can just knock you off of your horse and you stand there and you're like, how do I get back on it? How do you reconnect with life after life has knocked you down? How do you reconnect and decide after 30 plus years that now you want to do something different, right, with your life? You may want to open up a business and people, they may say, girl, are you crazy? Why would you want to do something like that in this season of your life? I just believe that everybody has a vision, whether it be to have a farm or, or they want to sit on a couch, they want to sit on the porch and be in their rocking chair, whatever it is. I want you to start thinking and dreaming again because isolation can have you stuck in a real big rut. And I've been there. It doesn't feel good. And you feel like you're the only one going through it. You feel like no one understands you. You even get a headache just thinking about trying to do things differently. I know that it's not easy. I know that it's hard to recognize that you are in this place, not voluntarily, because a lot of us, let's face it, a lot of us are in the position that we're in. It was not voluntarily. I did not volunteer to have to start my old life all over again. I did not volunteer that I had to say goodbye to what I thought my life would be. I didn't volunteer for that. It just happened. In the word of God, it talks about everything has a season. There's a time and a season for everything. And if you're anything like me, especially a woman who is a person that loves to share about life and like to do things and like to, encourage others, what happens when the wind gets knocked out of you? You got to get up and you got to try it again. And that's what I wanted to truly encourage a lot of you to do is to try it again. Because in the conversation that we're having, we got to think about these couple of things, and I'm going to read it to you. You know, how healing can feel lonely. Healing can feel lonely, but it's necessary. I just discovered a couple of days ago, and I'll share it at another time, that my healing process, the healing journey wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Healing can feel lonely because it's not always a safe space to share with people who don't understand your journey. Healing after going through a rebuilding means that you have to stand in your own truth, even when people don't really agree with the decisions that you're making. You have to be okay with that. And healing, it can be lonely. Healing can make you feel as though, am I losing it? Am I crazy for thinking that I want to do this because they've always known me to do that? Isolation gives you that time to revamp everything. If you want to take, because God had me, I'm going to tell you about me. All right. There was a time when I really was confused. I know you're probably like, confused. Yeah, I was confused. Girl, I'm talking real life. I was confused about what my assignment was in this season. And it brought about a lot of frustration. And you probably in that same boat. I was frustrated. And a lot of times I would look at social media and I'd see other people doing things that I had a passion to do, but I didn't know how to even get it out. I didn't have like the whole formula. And it frustrated me. It made me feel like I did not have what it takes or what it took to get that project done. And when I was in a place of isolation, I really struggled with showing up as the new person that I was becoming. There is such a heartbreak that no one can understand when you feel like your whole life has been dismantled in front of you, when you know that you wanted so much more, you thought or you hoped that your life would be this grandiose thing that you saw, or you probably felt like with retirement, how you were going to travel the world and just, you know, do everything that your heart's desire, go to some fancy restaurants or go hiking or do something you've never done before. But then life happened. And that's what happened to me. I was so frustrated. I didn't have a vision. I was always the one that was clear about my stance on life. I knew that I would always leave the place that I lived in. I knew that I would always go to another state. I knew that I always wanted this and wanted that. And then when it came to an abrupt halt, I was frustrated and I was very devastated, ashamed. I felt guilty. And I had to just make a decision that how long am I going to sit and sulk over the things that I really want to do? You can always try if it doesn't work out, but I'm going to tell you something. Isolation, you're stuck in your feelings, you're stuck in your emotions, and you don't have anything else to do but get the pen and paper and start writing. What is it that you really want to do? And having a new identity is the hardest thing. And I talked about it the other day, is letting go of the person that you used to be is difficult. Letting go of yesterday's leftovers can be difficult. You know how it is when you have prepared a meal and the next day they say that it even tastes better, honey, because all of the seasonings done went all through it and it tastes so good. But how many days can you eat those leftovers? Can't eat it forever. And I think that that's where some of us get stuck, because after a change comes, what do? You got to get a new identity. And I know you're like, a new identity? What does that look like? What does that even mean? To be brave enough to have that last cry and even scream if you have to. Don't pretend any longer to be okay. Tell your truth that you're not okay. Stop telling people that I'm good, it'll be all right. No, it won't. It won't be all right if you don't be honest with yourself. I had to tell myself I was disappointed. I had to tell myself, girl, you made some mistakes. I tried to gloss over it, but everything you can't gloss over everything. There are times when we have to face the truth and say, I'm scared. I'm afraid of what it would look like. What would people think if I made that change? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I was at a loss for words. I could not describe to you the pain that I felt having to, like a bad batch of eggs, when you scrambled them and they didn't come out right, or you burnt them, you have to throw it out. We got to throw out what was. It doesn't matter how old you are. Don't let isolation keep you there. Isolation will make you depressed. It will give you so much stress. It will release cortisol. It will bring you to a place where you start experiencing sickness in your body or gaining weight like I did, because I was holding it all inside. We as women, we are so good at keeping things to ourselves. We kept a lot of things from our children that we were going through, struggling probably to pay the bills or make things happen in our lives. We just became professional secret keepers. And now it could be detrimental to us. It could be detrimental to us because you're not walking in the truth of what you want to do, or to say, I don't like what I'm doing in my profession. There are a lot of people who are in midlife right now who are still working. May not be a full-time job. It could be a part-time job. It could be doing something that you love, just to make a couple of dollars. And then there are those who do it because for whatever reason, you don't have enough money to really do the things that you want to do. And what happens when we get into that posture? We become bitter. We become disengaged with that position that we have. And it's because we're really not happy. But we do it with a smile on our face, and inside we are burning up. And let me tell you, I'm going to be clear. I did this on purpose. I decided to have this live posting today, and I didn't share it on any other platform because for me, I'm going to tell you the truth. I have such a passion and a desire to share with women in a place where I feel like it's an ark of safety. Generally, I would stream or do things on all different platforms. This is for the women. I know what it's like to wonder, when will my change come? I know what it's like to say, well, everybody else is getting blessed and I'm doing the best I can. Or you're still heartbroken over the things that you couldn't change. Somebody walked away from you, or you walked away from them. It doesn't matter which way it went. It's still a hole in your chest. It's still some unforgiveness, some disappointment, some anger, some stress. Everything, whatever you pick up from what I'm saying, you can pick anything from that bowl and recognize yourself in it. I had to do the same thing. This is why I'm saying, don't stay in isolation too long. Sit down if you have to, get a piece of paper and a pen and write down where you're at, how you feel. Because isolation will keep you longer than you want to stay. I isolated myself for years and not realizing that I was doing that, but because I was like a blind man, didn't know which direction to take, because before I was so sure. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. And some of y'all that are watching, just go ahead and put in the comments some of the things that you know that, hey, yeah, I missed the mark, or yeah, I stayed too long. Yeah, I've been isolated. Yes, I felt that way. Yes, you're getting to your feelings and recognize that we all have been in that place. And not only the fact of isolation, what about the working woman, a woman that's still in her midlife? She may not be retired at this time, and she may not be working a part-time. She may be full-time, still getting it in until she retires. But you still have dreams. Are you fulfilled is what I want to ask you. Are you fulfilled? I'm talking about fulfilled in your personal life, fulfilled in your career. Do you feel like you left some things on the table? Come on, let's be real. Do you feel as though that it could be better, things could be different? Do you feel that for yourself? Do you feel like, I do want something different, but I don't know how to make it happen? Oh, baby, listen, I've had a whole lot of sleepless nights, tossing and turning because I felt the pull. Even when I tried to let it go, I sensed that there was more to life than just saying, oh, well, I've had my kids. I've had the house and the picket fence, all of the things. But then I recognized, well, what about now? What about the passion and the fire that still burns on the inside of you that wants to be better in your life? What about you? What about the choices that like, I want to do this, but the money's not there. And that leaves you feeling kind of like sad about it, because you know that, hey, you have a position, but you might want to do something else. But here's that thing again, man, it's too late. It's too late for me. I'm too old to try something new. Who said it? Why do you feel like that? Now, with social media showing you that people are going back to school, I've seen a 62-year-old just become a registered nurse. I've seen people open up bakeries and different type of nonprofits, or just starting their own whatever companies and things of that nature. It's all about a mindset. It's all about how you feel about you on the inside. As I'm talking to you, I'm reminiscing about all of the times that I sat back on my dreams. Have you ever sat back on a dream or something you wanted to do, and then you seen somebody else do the very thing that you wanted to do? And it lets you know that, for one, you don't have to be jealous about it. But what you can be is, it could encourage you and make you understand that you are one step away from changing things. And let me say this, it's not a bad thing. And I wrote this down. That's why I'm looking now, because at this point I'm getting ready to make. I want you to recognize that if you have gone through a place of isolation, and you might be there now, you can come out of it. And let me explain. You see, the difference between isolation that protects you and the isolation that holds you back is what I'm getting ready to say right now. Isolation that protects you is just that time that you have to get yourself together, to regroup. When I moved back here when I moved to Delaware, I was in a place of isolation. It was protection for me, because I was in a new place. I was a fish out of water. I had no idea which way I would go. So because of that, protection and isolation was good. I had to get all of my ugly cries out. I had to go through the place or the stages of grief, because I had to go through the loss of what I thought my life would be like, the loss of what my titles were as mom, as wife. I had to go through the grieving process of not being I would say a popular person in a new state, because I was very well known where I lived at, because I was always out in the community as a leader, as a pastor. But now I'm like in a new place, and I have no titles of any sort other than who I was, and my name is Vera. Actually, Doll Vera. Therefore, it was protection. It was protection at that time, in a way that I needed it, because I was broken. I was so broken, y'all. I did not know. I didn't even have a friend to call. Can I be honest? Oh, I'm so glad that this platform is such a place where the sharing of life experiences is really invited. I was so broken. I felt like before I would have people on speed dial, there was no one I could reach out to. It was like when I came across that bridge, literally, I felt like a door was closed that I could never go back through. And I wandered a lot. I wandered. I wandered a lot by walking my dog and spending time just praying and crying, and getting in my car, going places. And I felt so distant. It was like I was having an outer body experience. I give you more of an in-depth vision of what I'm seeing. I felt like I was looking at myself, like looking down on me, seeing like, wow, this is really going on. And to be honest, that to me is a form of trauma because it was something that was a very devastating event that I did not cause on myself, but it was an abrupt change. And I don't know if you've ever experienced an abrupt change, but it happens in all of our lives. Don't get me wrong. I'm just sharing the stories because in that time of my isolation, it was good for me. I was free from all of the responsibilities. And at first, I was like really devastated, crying, like, oh man, I can't believe this. And then as time went on, while I was in protection of isolation, I started to get a little bit more pep in my step. Every day, I was making videos and just talking about where I was, how I felt. It was therapeutic for me. And then as I segued for over the years, I started to develop, okay, a little bit more pep. And then I found my identity again. So I had to allow everything from the past to just be the past. And I know some of y'all be getting tired of hearing that, oh, just let it go. It's in the past. Well, it's not easy to let things go. It's a process. And I mean, there's no other way around it. It's stages to it because you have to first accept what you can't change, right? You got to accept it. You got to sit in it and look around and be like, did that just happen? And you say to yourself, yep, it just happened. And then you go, wait a minute, wait. Let me recant this. Let me think about this again. All right, let me really process what just happened. Okay, wait. All right, so you go to church on one day, you come back from church, and then you get hit with divorce papers. Okay, all right, and then you got to go back to church after all that happened. All right, and then in between that, your children are going through the process of moving out. You become an empty nester. Okay, after the empty nester, now you got to go to the church. You got to shut the church down. Okay, and now all of the auxiliaries or different things you were part of, now you can't even tell them all that's going on because first of all, it's embarrassing. And then second of all, you're still trying to figure out, is this real? Now you're now no longer working. I had retired very young. So it's like my identity was tied up into what I was doing. Can y'all track with me on that? Anybody can feel me out there? Your identity is tied up into your doing and what you have done. But when it's over and done, now who are you? Ha! Who are you now? Who are you now? I struggled with that. Have you ever struggled with trying to find out where am I? Isolation? I'm telling you, isolation is good for a season, but then isolation has a way of being a blessing after a while because you now are finding yourself. And I hope that some of you that are listening to me can really track with me. That means that you get with me. You understand that this thing that we're going through, the process of life that we're going through, is all about the midlife changes. And it doesn't stop because, oh, I'm 50 years old. I made it now. Oh, I'm what you talking about? Honey, I'm 55, girl. I done made it. Yeah, honey, retirement come and I'm just going to travel the world. I'm going to sit. Listen, I ain't doing nothing. Girl, I done worked all them years and I ain't doing nothing. When I retire, I ain't doing nothing. Some have that story, but I don't have that story. There's still a lot of life in me. And I want to continue to develop in the things that I know is really prosperous for me. So finding your identity, you got to think about that. Who are you at this stage of your life? Can you actually tell me who you are right now? Just think about it. I love giving food for thought because it's interesting. Some of the answers that I have gotten from women. I've heard one woman say one time she didn't know who she was outside of being the grandmother and somebody's wife and being a co-worker or an employee. All of that is where I had to find out, who am I in this season? But those that are coming behind me, the isolation that you're going through, it's only for a season. What I'm going to give you a couple of ways or a couple of thought-provoking tips, because girl, we talking life. The first thing to do is take baby steps. Take baby steps. I'm going to give you a little bit of what I did. When I got myself together and I cried my last tear and I realized that I was depressed, I said, oh no, let me get myself up. Let me get myself up. Let me get myself up. The first thing I did was I connected again. I connected. I started looking for things for me to do outside of everything else. Now, if you're working or you're not able to always get out all the time, there's things, other ways that you can connect, just like you're connecting right now to what I'm doing, right? You're on social media and you're watching my YouTube channel and you're connecting with me. We tracking together. You have to connect. Get with people who are like-minded. And that was something I had to recognize. I tried to connect after a while with some things from the past, and it wasn't working. It wasn't working. Because what happened was we didn't have anything in common anymore. Our language had changed because they were on a different plane. So reconnecting smallly, just kind of ease it in there, connect with people. Find a hobby or something that you have in common. Some people are into history, they're historians. Some people are into baking. Some people are into, just whatever. I just tend to like line dancing. I talk about that all the time. I tend to like line dancing. I enjoy traveling. I enjoy going to different places. I'm a foodie. I like those things. So what about you? How are you going to get out of isolation and get now into participating in your own life? Because I had to tell somebody the other day, and I say it all the time, that nobody's coming to rescue you. Nobody is coming. You have got to say to yourself, all right, I've been here too long. All I do is work. I need something. I need an outlet. I need to be able to expand my horizons, to be able to expand my thought process, to be able to show up and have other people pour into me. Because how many of you out there are pourers? We call that word pourers, which means that you are an encourager. If you're encouraging people all the time, answer this question: who's encouraging you? Encouraging people can become draining, especially if you don't have anybody to pour into you. And that's what women do. We're always assisting others with advice, what I would do, how I would do this, and how I'm going to do that. What about you? Do you have that person that you're able to say, I'm going to just sit down and I'm going to let them pour into me? This is a way that you can come out of that isolated place. And let me hit you with another one that people may not think about when it comes down to isolation. Have you ever been in a crowd of people, maybe hanging out somewhere, and you still feel alone? Feel like I'm in the room, but I'm just here. That's when you know that you really haven't, like your mind, your brain hasn't settled in to say, it's okay. It's safe to go over there and introduce yourself to whoever. If you're in a crowd, you're maybe at a meeting or something, a function where everybody's gathering, having some food and just enjoying themselves, laughter's going on. Go on over there and introduce yourself. It's that process of letting your guard down, because baby, when I tell you I was guarded, I was wound so tight after going through everything that I went through, that I had such a wall up. around me, that I felt like I didn't need any new friends. I felt like I am trying to be incognito, but I needed to be in a community. Then if you can track with me and you really feel what I'm saying, girl, we talking real life. You need to get over yourself. Start finding community. And let me go even a little bit further, because look, girl, we just talking life. This is just my time of venting and letting out some nuggets that I know a lot of you women can use. Is this: don't just, if you're in any type of organization, as far as like church or any other thing, don't just stick with that one thing. What I mean by this, I had a dad who was a pastor. So I'm a PK kid. All right. For those of you that know, you know. That can't just be your only outlet. And my father didn't do anything outside of that. That was his life. And you have to have balance. If you're into making things with your hands, or just playing cards or something to start pulling you out of that isolated place. You like comedy, clean comedy, whatever. Go and enjoy yourself. And that's going to pull you out of the place of isolation, because truly isolation does hit different. It hits so hard, it just knocks the wind out of you. If you're not careful, you will stay there too long and you will be depressed and you will just be sitting there on the sidelines. And I don't want you there. I want us as ladies, as women who have paid our dues, man. We worked hard. And I don't think that people truly understand, and especially our loved ones do understand the sacrifices that we made. I sat and I actually had playbacks in my mind about how much I sacrificed. And that's another disheartening place that will make you start to pull back. I began to think about all of the sacrifices, all the things that I did not partake in because I was had to do something for the children, right? When they were younger, I had to do something for the community. I had to do something for church. I had to do something for this organization. I had to do this. I had to do that. I was the yes girl. When I tell you I was the yes girl, everything I was asked to do, I was doing it. I was cleaning the church on Saturdays, was there on Sundays. I mean, and that may not be your thing, because I understand that I have a broad community of people that watch my channel, but I'm just talking about things that you could probably identify with. When you are constantly giving out, don't you know that you're giving away a piece of you? You're giving away a piece of you that you can never get back. That time that you put in when you could have been doing something else, but you said, okay, I'm gonna go to the basketball game, or I'm gonna do that, because I was always there, all the games, the karate, everything that my kids were in. And now I'm like, okay, who am I? That was such a eye-opening moment. And then I also can say that it's a thankless job at times. Because although you've done it, and you may have done these things out of love and being selfless, don't negate the fact that sometimes you will never get a thank you. Ah, did I say it? You will never get a thank you. You will never get, I appreciate you. And you have to be okay with that. But wait, don't get me wrong, because look, girl, we talking life. Sometimes you don't feel like just being like, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay to be overlooked at times. It's not okay to not be thanked for you giving up your last dime so that they could have, so you don't want to see them without. I've been there. I know you have too, girl. I'm helping you out when I could be doing something else. I remember so many times that I had things planned, and then someone comes with a crisis. one of the family members, and I would drop what I'm doing to go and assist them. But then, can I tell you, when all of that is over, and now you're in this different season in your life, all of the running around, taking care of everybody, and if you are a true empty nester, now you sit in the stillness and you say to yourself, where do I go from here? There's no one that you're caring for, right? There's no, if you are widowed or you're divorced, there's no one there that has your attention any longer. And you sit down and you think, where am I going now? What does my life have meaning? Does anybody care? The phone calls get less. The friendships are like this small amount of people. And the noise begins to get a little bit louder from the sound. It's more from the thoughts in your head. It's not the noise of the people because there's nobody there any longer. So what do? You build again. You start to dream again. Dream another dream. Don't lie to yourself in this season. If you want more, you want to enjoy your life more, just do it. Just do it. Just be encouraged. And I promise you, the more you get out of your way, the people will come. The new friends will come. You will have times of laughter, times to cry with them, times to say, yes, I remember I went through that, and just enjoy the journey because you deserve it. Girl, you deserve it. You've done what you needed to do. You have nothing to prove to anybody. And that's another segue into, my closing is that you have nothing to prove to people, but you have everything to prove to yourself. Isn't it amazing how, I have a grandson, and it's amazing how we will find a way to make others happy. If my grandson, he calls and he may need, like he called me the other day, Granny, I need $120 because I want to buy these sneakers. I didn't blink an eye to give to him. Right? I didn't bat at the opportunity to be a blessing in his life. And I did it. And I didn't think twice. I didn't say, oh, I don't know if I have the extra money. When I hear him, it just melts me. He has me wrapped around his finger. And what I do is I gave. But for me, I used to go to the clearance rack to buy me clothes. I would nickel and dime what I would purchase for myself. I would always say, I'll get it later. I'll come back later and I'll purchase that for myself. But I know, y'all know that later never came. And if you went back later, the item you were looking at, more than likely somebody had already purchased it. Girl, you're worth more than that. You're worth more than a clearance rack. You're worth more than just, I'm going to get this $7 meal. I get my grandson $120 for a pair of sneakers. and just think. I had to reframe my thought process in order to receive what I'm telling you to do. You see, I don't just talk it, I'm about that. I made a decision that I was not going to keep myself on the clearance rack, that I'm worth every penny, that I don't need a man to take me out to dinner. If there's no man present, I am present. I am present in my life. I'm no longer sleepwalking. Are you sleepwalking in your own life? Ah, that's a good one. That just dropped in my spirit. Are you sleepwalking through your midlife? Are you sleepwalking right now? Are you walking with your eyes closed, no vision, no direction? Just get up, doing the same thing every day, same time, just like Groundhog Day. Are you sleepwalking in your own life? It's time. If I am here to be your biggest cheerleader, then so be it. I've had to go through the storms. I had to go through the pains. I had to shut the mouths of those who used to say that I couldn't do it, I wouldn't be anything, or the fact that I would have to downgrade, which is what my ex-husband told me. You would have to downgrade when I leave you. You won't be able to live in this lavish house like you're living. Oh, you ain't going to have nothing when I leave. All of those things, I had to shut the mouth of the enemy. I'm no longer sleepwalking in my own life. Are you sleepwalking in your life? Comfort, it feels good for a little bit. That place of isolation, right? That place of isolation, like a bear, when he hibernates, he's eating, he's getting all the goods, he's snuggled up. Oh gosh, for the winter, he's just enjoying his space. But when he comes out, hey, what's going on? He ready to start all over again. It's time for you to come on out now. It's time for you to stop hiding your true feelings on what you want. We hide a lot. How you doing? I'm fine. No, you're not. You're not fine all the time. How you doing? I'm blessed by the best. No, you're not. Not all the time. You don't feel like it. Now you are blessed by the best, but you don't always feel like it is the point I'm making. Because I didn't always feel like it. I showed up because I had to, but I didn't show up in my full self. I was sleepwalking. I was sleepwalking through the process. And now that I'm even talking right now, it feels like to me, I've been sleepwalking for the past couple of years before I had this aha moment, before I woke up out of the fog to let you know that it's time for you to open your eyes and see what's truly around you. It's good and easy for everybody to give and care for everybody else, but no. And sometimes we do that and we try to get involved in other people's stuff because you know what it does for us? It makes us not take that time out to sit and face what really we're dealing with. It's like a distraction to keep you from really saying, you know what, I'm not living up to my full potential. Or I said I was going to do X, Y, and Z, and I've never done it. And then I can use this as an excuse because I can just say I was helping somebody else. So that's going to, kind of like put me in a light where, yeah, well, you're right, girl, you was helping somebody else. No, that means that you're making excuses because you don't want to face the truth about where you really are. Oh, I've been there. In your feelings, where you really are in your feelings, in the space that you're at in life. Sometimes we don't want to look at the ugly stuff. I know what I'm talking about because I have done it. I have said, oh, you know what? I was supposed to do so and so on that day, and I didn't do it. Oh, I was so busy with that. No, it's not about being lazy. It's not about being a procrastinator. It's about the fact that you don't want to sit in it. You don't want to. You don't want to have that ugly cry. You don't want to be truthful to yourself and say, I hate how I didn't do X, Y, and Z, or I hate where I'm at in my life right now, and I wish that it could change. It could change if you change. It's a mindset. Now, here we go again with this, but it really is true. Change happens when you get tired. And I had to recognize another truth is that I can't drag somebody somewhere that they don't want to go. As an encourager. But I can tell you this much. I know for a fact that even if that person looks like they don't want to go, they desire it, but they're afraid of change, afraid to move on, afraid to step in to a new season in their lives, because what is it going to look like? I've never seen it model before. I've never done it before. I don't know. Girl, listen, I'm too old. Just leave me alone. If you want to be left alone, that's fine. But if you that woman out there, honey, if you're that one that knows that some of the things that I have said probably make you want to cry, because I know I'm coming down your street. I've been there. I've listened to stories that used to resonate with my spirit, but I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know how to get out. I'll tell you something else, okay? Because see, it's just us girls here talking, right? That's why I only came to this platform, because I just wanted to be us. I remember one day my kids were younger, they were teenagers, and I was watching Oprah Winfrey. Y'all know, honey, back in the day, everybody was tuned in when Oprah Winfrey came on. I am actually vacuuming the floor and I'm watching Oprah Winfrey. And I don't know what she said, but it was just her presence. I started crying. There was nobody home. My husband at the time, ex-husband, was working. The kids were gone. It was a beautiful sunny day. I had the windows. I can remember exactly where I was. I had the shades open, the sun coming in, and I'm vacuuming, I'm cleaning the house. And all I saw was Oprah sitting there, and she had a guest, and they were talking. And I was bawling. I started crying. I had to sit down. And you know why I was crying? Because when I saw her, I saw myself. I saw myself not living my full potential, because I always used to tell my ex, one day you're going to turn the TV on and you're going to see my face. And he'd be like, yeah, right. Because I always wanted to be that person that I am now, to live out loud, to speak to people and make them smile and encourage people. That's always been me. But can I tell you, if I would have done what I'm doing now, back then, only God knows where I would be. Why did I not step into it? Out of fear. What are people going to think? Are they going to say I think I'm too much? Or you think you this, you think you're that? These are the thoughts that ruminated. Oh, you're raising kids. How could you go after something like that? But I didn't know. I'm going to tell you, listen, today is a day of truth for me. I did not know. I could have started a YouTube channel years ago. I didn't know. I was all on Facebook, and my sons used to say to me all the time, and here they are, teenagers, mommy, you wasting all that time on Facebook. You should be over there on YouTube. You making all these videos. I thought they didn't know what they were talking about, but they knew, but I didn't listen. But what I want to say to you is that I was in a place of isolation at that time, because I was home and I didn't have anybody to pour into me and say, she ain't no different than you. You can get on out there and do it too. I didn't have that. So now that's my position for a lot of you women out there. I'm your biggest cheerleader. Girl, I want to see you win. Girl, you better listen. You are not too old to start over. You are not too I'm timid. I can't do this. I can't do that. If you're a behind the scenes person, fine. But whatever it is that you like to do behind the scenes, do it to the best of your ability. We got to get out our own way and stop sleepwalking. Are you sleepwalking in your own life? I've come to recognize that women don't want to. Some women don't want to admit we lived by the applause or the boos of others, and it kept us stuck. And let's go there. What about the families that we were raised in? The morals and the values. We tried to uphold those things, and sometimes it held us back. But not today, y'all. The isolation that I felt all those years, the disappointments that I felt in myself, making decisions that I knew that I really didn't want, but I went with it to go with the crowd. It landed me in a place where I was just feeling like I was on an island. Nobody understood me. And it might be your story. So I want you to recognize today, like, girl, we talking life. Come out of that isolation. Find your tribe. Some people think about it as a support group. And it is support to a certain degree. But when you get what you need, then you move on from there. There was one time I was a part of a support group, and I remember, and the name of the support group was Dating a Widow, support group for dating widows. And at that particular time, I was dating a minister, and he had lost his wife, right? She passed away. And the things that the women shared in there, I needed at that time for me to understand the dynamic of dating someone who had gone through loss, because I wanted to get more clarity on why this person was acting the way they were acting. After a while, I got it. I got what I needed. And then I started seeing all these threads continue to come where people were always talking about the negative side. So one day it was like the Lord said to me, you're not going to stay here. You got what you needed, and you don't need to be stuck here, because they were all talking negative about a situation that I had already healed from. You understand? So I moved on. I said, this is not for me any longer. I'm moving on. Thank you. I appreciate what you were able to give me, but now it's time for me to move on. And it's the same thing in life. Sometimes women think that, especially when you get new friends, I'm gonna go there because I'm talking about it all, honey. We throwing it out there, honey, because I want you to come out of isolation and get real with yourself and tell yourself the truth. If you want some new friends, the Bible says, if you want a friend, you got to show yourself friendly. And I used to be that one. I don't want everybody in my business. My mother always said X, Y, and Z. My mother, well, listen, some of the things that we learned from our mamas and our daddies and our aunties and uncles, it wasn't always the right thing. And can I also add, we're living in a different time now. So we all can learn something new. Therefore, so getting back to my story, I recognize that even in that, meeting new friends and cutting off, not even really cutting off the old ones, but it is necessary. And let me explain. There are times when we have friendships. We have friends for 20 plus years, and we know that we could feel that our views of life is changing now. And you still hee and ha with them, but you still feeling this uneasiness to the point that you start questioning, oh, I feel like the Lord is telling me to cut this off, but I'm still hanging in there because, the loyalty thing. But when change happens in your life, when you are rebuilding, I got to be honest, you got to cut people off, because that represents where you were and not where you are now. It was hard for me. One friendship I had for like 20 plus years. And I just kept going back and forth with God, saying, God, I felt that he wanted me to cut it off. And I kept trying to hang in there until one day she cut me off. And then I didn't hear from her any longer. But then the Lord started speaking to me. And I think I put in my video the other day. God said to me, the same way I speak to you, I speak to my other daughters and sons. You're not the only one. And if I wouldn't cut it off, God said, well, I'm going to cut that off. And he allowed me to have a peace about it and not be offended over it. And that's something that people still struggle with, is being offended. But I had prayed, Lord, I don't want to be offended. I don't want to carry this in my heart. And I don't know why I went this way, but I'm going this way in the conversation because it's still dealing with the isolation. So God will have you cut away some things that does not fit where you are going. And it's hard to get a new identity, but it's doable. You have to be open to the newfound friendships that can take you to another level. And we used to run from people that, oh, we don't have everything in common. There are times where you don't need everything in common. Let me explain. If you want to be like, I love fashion, right? I mean, I'm not a fashion, I don't dress all flashy, but I do like certain things. And I'd be like, oh, I wish I could sew. I wish now my mother, she used to sew her tail off, but I'm like, man, I wish I could sew. And I would make me some bad dress. I could see the vision, but baby, it ain't happening with me, okay? Because I am not a seamstress. Unfortunately, I tried one time. I had home economics. A lot of y'all remember home economics out there? If you remember home economics, honey, put it in the comment section. We used to have home economics back in the day, right? Well, I decided I'm going to take a sewing class. Well, I made one pair of pants and let's just say it didn't go so well. So, and I brought it home so proudly to my mom. And look, even a hem wouldn't stay in there. I was the pits, right? But I could cook now and I could burn some pots. I could really throw down. But the sewing is not my thing. But let me say this. I tried. I said I was going to get out of my comfort zone. And I tried. But guess what? I learned some things that I still utilize today. Why am I saying that? Because I want to challenge some of you to stop being stuck in just your little corner. Get out there. You don't know how much time you have left on this earth. None of us do. And what I like may not be what you like. But to see life through a different lens after you had to rebuild is very important so that you don't feel isolated. Remember, I told you that my dad, he used to go to church and come home. That's all he did. Go to church, come home. Go to church, come home. All he had was church friends. He had nothing outside of that. That was his choice. But when it came down to certain things that had to deal with, personal things, he didn't even know how to do those things. And therefore, for me, I wanted to be kind of well-rounded in life and be able to do some things on my own because we all need all types of people. Now, we're not talking about anybody, being reckless, but you understand what I'm saying. In our stage of life, there's still more life to live. We just have to participate in our own life. Recognize if you're just like, okay, I'm isolated, but how do you get out? Because we talked about that. Start off small, get in communities, start to become volunteer. I volunteer at a hospice. Do things to get out of your own way. Okay, so I can hear it so clear. Well, what if you retired? That's what I said. Volunteer, do some different things to get yourself around people. Isolation will drag you down. Isolation will make you feel like you're just like the walls are closing in. I have done that before. I had gotten in such a funk, I'm telling you, that I felt like, okay, all I would do is stay in one room. Now I got a whole house, I'm staying in one room because I'm isolating myself. I'm depressed. I don't know which way to go. I have no idea what to do. And then I heard the Lord say one day, get up, get out, get in the car, drive, take some time out to do something for you. And I'll keep sharing this one little point. And I hope y'all really take this into consideration. Whatever date your birthday is, like yesterday was the 23rd. So on the 23rd of every month, I always, if I like today, now I didn't get my flowers yesterday, but today, after I get off of this YouTube channel, I am going to take myself to the florist and I'm going to get me some flowers. I recommend that every one of you treat yourself to something. It may not be flowers. If you want to go to dinner, go to dinner. You want to go to the movies, go to the movies by yourself. Do something for yourself on your date, whatever day. If you were born on the 7th, every 7th of each month, do something special for yourself. It's just a little bonus that I gave you. But I wanted to share this live with you today because I wanted it to be intimate. And if you know for yourself that you even have some pointers on how do you get through being isolated or feeling like you've gotten into a funk, put it in the comment section on what are some of your tips. We can all help each other out because that's what this is all about. Each one teach one. No one has the corner market on anything. And I don't care how many times we see everybody talking about they are the guru, the expert. Ain't nobody expert. We all been through some tragedy. We done all been through some crazy stuff, and we still here to tell the story. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? And if you know in your heart that what I'm saying and what I have been sharing, and some of you that have actually just found me on the YouTube or any other social media platforms, make sure you share my page with other people. Make sure you go ahead and share my YouTube channel with your friends, with your good girlfriends, and then have some conversations based around what we're talking about, because this is the channel for a girl. Let's talk life, because yeah, life happens all around everything that we do, from menopause to relationships with men, or relationships with your people that you work with, all kind of things. This is why I created this channel, and I changed that name to Girl Let's Talk Life, because life do be lifing, but there is still life in us, so we still here to tell the story. Can I get an amen? Well, if you like the content that I shared today, please make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And like I said, share it with your good girlfriends. And I just enjoy y'all. Make sure you turn on your notifications, so every time that I go live, you'll be able to say, oh, there she go again. Vera's out there talking life, because it do get real out here and we can't share with everybody, right? All right, y'all go ahead and y'all enjoy y'all day. Girl, life be life, and I love y'all to life. See you on the next one.